Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jay. This is the MMA Underground presented by the Yankee and the Brit. We are Yankee-less we are Britless, sorry. I am your Yankee, because he is out dealing with some personal issues now that England's not locked down anymore. But today we got a special guest for you. It's the East Coast Street Beefs heavyweight champion. Big smile. Thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. Always a good time.
So a lot of good stuff going on in your life, but just to make sure I haven't missed anything. Now, your last Street Beefs fight was with Shinigami?
Yes, that's correct. No, I had a boxing match after that, and I had a grappling match after that. But that was my last MMA match with Street Beefs.
All right. And before we get into if you and Shinigami are going to fight again, because there's some people who might not know what's holding up in the way, kind of things, but you both got some big things going on. But I seen on Facebook, you just signed a contract.
Yes, I have. It's, nothing too permanent or anything like that. It's a one-fight amateur contract with Cagezilla. I'll be fighting on Cagezilla 61 at the end of the month, June 26th in Manassas, Virginia. So it should be fun.
That's very cool.
And I'm very excited.
So, you know your opponent already, I take it?
I do know my opponent. His name is Devontae Rice. He's 1-1. And, I've seen a tiny bit of film on him, and I'm excited. A great matchup for me.
So how did that come about, though? Like, you just get a call from them, and they're like, hey, come fight for us? How does that work for you fighters when you get that call or you call them? How does that work?
Well, lately I've been leaving most of that up to my sensei, and he's been trying to get me a sanctioned fight for a few months now, I would say. We had one opponent offered, and we had accepted, but they didn't accept on their end. And so this is the second opponent I've been offered and been accepted on both ends. So I'm pretty excited. He does a great job at getting everybody fights. I'm sure there'll be, a few other of our guys fighting the same night as me.
That's always good when you can go in. Yeah, it's always good when you can go in with like a team, though. I was just talking to Preacher's son and Jordan Harrington, Preacher's son, and a couple other people from the West Coast are going to pro-ams together. So it's almost brings him back to his wrestling background. You know what I mean? Like going out to the meets and.
Yeah, I miss the old wrestling days. It's a lot of fun. You fill up the bus and, you travel a state away or something, go to a dual tournament and team versus team. It's fun.
So with the upcoming fight, like when you got the call, how excited were you? Like, yes, this is finally going to happen.
Oh, man. I've been pretty ecstatic since. Like, it's pretty much all I've been thinking about, and I guess just extremely excited, I would say. It's going to be huge, It's one of the big steps I need in order, to start getting paid to do this. I need to get some amateur bouts going, so I'm so excited. It's going to be great, and Cagezilla is always really good.
Yeah, and the fact that that Street Beefs has been around for a while, and I've been watching Street Beefs for a couple of years. But a lot of people are just finding out about Street Beefs. The views on YouTube are skyrocketing. That's got to help all of you guys trying to move into these other promotions to get your name out there, to just get the exposure.
Sure. And I got to say, the skill level at Street Beefs is going up a lot. I went to the event yesterday. There's some wild uploads coming in, some very high-level fights. The Showtime versus Lights Out Laco boxing match, that was one of the most technical fights I've ever seen, and they were both just throwing hands, going right at each other. Beast versus Ryusen in kickboxing, there are some wild matches.
That was the Virginia Invasion?
Beast, super heavyweight or heavyweight, and he jumped like 2 feet up in the air throwing a kick, and it was crazy. You never see that. And he was throwing wild like that the whole match.
Is that that you're talking about, the Virginia Invasion with all the guys coming from the West Coast?
Yeah. Those were some good matches too. Fair Play versus Viking Warrior. That was a really good. That was a technical boxing match as well.
And then Fire Chicken fought on over there too, right?
Yeah, I got there after his fight, but I know he fought Scarface and A-Train.
Oh, he fought Scarface also?
Yeah, that one's already on YouTube. I was watching it this morning.
I'm going to have to check that out when we're done because we had him on probably 10 days ago talking about the Virginia invasion and his fight with A-Train and a lot of the guys going out there. But the fact that him and Scarface threw down is kind of exciting too.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. They called it an exhibition, but they were throwing.
Yeah,
cool.
You cannot be in front of that many people and fighters and not just start going. You know what? I don't think you can do that.
The energy definitely gets to you, and it's a good thing. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I know he was excited to compete again, even though the A-Train fight was a exhibition too. But like he said there's not going to be any rest, but don't think we ain't trying to knock each other out.
Yeah, exactly. And it sounds like I talked to him about it. I haven't watched that one yet, but it sounds like it was a pretty good fight.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch that. I was excited about the Virginia invasion because last time we had you on, we had talked about the StreetBeefs doing kind of something like that with all the yards.
Yeah, that's right.
And now that there's the West Coast, there's the OG yard, there's the scrap yard, and now with Texas Anarchy, StreetBeefs, man, I'm so excited for where it's going and watching guys like you and Shinigami and Preacher's Son and guys that I think will fight in other promotions at some point, like you and Shinigami for sure. And now Preacher's Son just signed, Jordan Harrington. It's so exciting to be able to follow you guys. And we're almost more invested because we get these podcasts and we get to talk to you guys. So it's a more invested in watching your guys' future.
Oh, well, thank you. That's very cool. And I love watching all the other StreetBeefs fighters as well. And plenty of guys with a lot of potential, like you said. Like, and
the skill level going up is awesome, but you can never take away from the beef fights either.
Oh, no. No, I think we have a wild beef fight coming up between Madman Moses and High Definition because there was a little bit of drama at the last event, and they're going to have a beef fight. It's going to be wild. Both those guys are like almost 300 pounds, like weightlifter-looking guys. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, I like those beef fights. I don't remember who the names were, but it was it was a prison beef. The last one I watched, and it was some like big Aryan dude versus a black dude, and I think it was racial beef. I'm not sure because he was Aryan, but it was a good fight.
Yeah, yeah, I love watching the heavyweights. It's always exciting. It's like it ends so quick once it starts going. Once they start really throwing, it's like one shot or whoever gets on top, that's it.
Yeah, and with the heavyweights, man, that's some knockout power too. So you can be getting your ass whooped and land one and it's over.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. I had a lot of fun watching yesterday. It was so hot, but it was great atmosphere and some crazy fights.
It looked like on the pictures, everybody had a great time. I know Sunshine was putting out posts on all the StreetBeef sites, and it was it's really cool that for like now the next week or two, I get to go back as they post and watch all these fights. Whereas, as weird as this sounds, you watch a UFC and you get 4 hours of great fights, but you get this weird letdown afterwards. Like, what do I do now? It's midnight. Like, what do I do? And with StreetBeefs, you don't, as long as you haven't watched them all, man, there's a catalog. So it's never ending for fights.
Yeah, there's a catalog. And my favorite thing is probably like the fantasy matchups at StreetBeefs. Like people will come up with a matchup and they make it happen right away. In like other fighting organizations, it's tough. Sometimes you don't see people that you want to fight until they're both almost retired. So StreetBeefs makes it happen like a couple weeks later, like a month later. So that's always cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I just get so excited when I watch the StreetBeefs because like we both have been saying, the skill levels going up, and for guys who are having a hard time finding like amateur fights and stuff, this is great exposure. It's great for them to get in there and like test themselves to know what they can do. It's just experience all around.
Yeah, just like some guys I'd never seen yesterday, so technical, so high level, like hitting crazy question mark kick knockouts. Like, it's wild. It was a great time. And yeah, I can't wait to fight again either. I'm so excited. It helped me get a little pumped up for the end of the month. Going and watching helped me get a little in the right mindset.
So would you get like 4 weeks for a training camp?
Um, it's tough to say. I guess I've known about my fight for a couple weeks now, but I've been training every day. So I never really look at it as too much of a training camp. I do start to try and mentally dial things in, but I'm just pretty much always ready.
Now, do you pull back a little bit? Like if you ever know you got to fight like a week, do you pull back, or do you just balls forward?
I pull back like a couple days before I'll start to wind down. And, maybe the week before, a couple weeks before, like the sparring's a little bit lighter or, a little less to the head. But it's pretty much not until a couple days before I'll let myself rest because I'm just so used to being extremely active. Just a tiny bit of rest is a lot of recovery for me.
Yeah, and so you still do quite a bit of sparring. I wonder. I just hear more and more MMA fighters are staying away from sparring, so it's always fascinating to see like where other people come out on that.
Yeah, fortunately, I have like great training partners that aren't too like egotistical. So, when you have a fight coming up, we just have a lot more technical sparring, and it's just different. It's very different than our hard sparring, but it's great for dialing in, with your timing and range and everything like that. So I still spar, but it's just not quite as intense, I would say.
Yeah, it's different now because in the '90s, guys were leaving their careers in the gym with those
Yeah.
bangers they were having in the gym, and now you hear guys like Max Holloway are like, I don't even spar anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just once you have a certain amount of experience, you just need to be all you really need to worry about is being healthy and in shape, right? I'm still at the stage where I'm learning so much every day. But somebody like Max Holloway, as long as he's healthy and he's in shape, he's going to be good.
Well, how many street beef fights have you had? MMA fights.
I'm 5-0 in StreetBeefs MMA.
So have you fought outside of street beefs before?
No, this is my first fight outside of StreetBeefs. This one
Okay,
coming.
but that 5 fights, I mean, that's 5 fights experience you're walking into where some guys might catch an amateur fight and it's truly the first time they fought outside of their own gym.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have, those 5 fights, and I also have like hundreds of grappling matches, jiu-jitsu matches, stuff like that. That adds up a lot too.
And you have a wrestling background, correct?
Yep, I have hundreds of wrestling matches as well. So I've been competing in combat sports for, most of actually all of my adult life, I guess, before that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense too, because like you know what it's like to have to compete one-on-one in wrestling. Like I said, like I did some wrestling opens as a kid and stuff like that, but I played hockey. So there was that, you couldn't play both. And hockey's a team sport. So if we lose, we're in the locker room together. You know what I mean? Like no matter what we face, we're facing as a team. Whereas you do have a team, but the second that cage closes, it's just you and that other guy. So wrestling has to help with that, I would assume.
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely like wrestling's a very like physical, grindy sport as well. So something that's similar with wrestling and MMA is like you have to like take everything you want from somebody. They're not just going to hand it over. So you have to take it from them. And like you said, there's nobody else to blame. It's just you and them. So it's a lot easier to look at it and like know what you need to improve on and not, blame other people. I think that's one of the reasons I fell in love with wrestling and combat sports is because like I was always a football player as well, but my team was never very good. So like I would make, a great block and then the quarterback would just like get sacked anyways. And like I always wanted to play football like in college and stuff. And even though I was a great player, my team was like 1-9, so I didn't get that many opportunities. But then in wrestling, it didn't matter. I could just make everything happen for myself. So I kind of like that. I don't mind relying on people I trust, but it's nice to be able to not have to worry about anybody else.
Yeah, because football is definitely one of those sports where if all 11 people aren't doing the same thing, it ain't going to work. So whereas in MMA, as long as you put trusted people around you to coach you, then it's just pretty much on you to take that training and execute it.
The performance is all on you. Like, of course, some cornering can make a big difference and it can help a lot. But at the end of the day, it's just you and that other fighter in the cage.
And then I don't know if you're looking too far forward, but let's just hypothetically say, because I believe in you, you go in, you win this fight. You just trying to wait for the next chance to get an amateur fight. Like, and how many amateur fights, if you thought it through, are you thinking before you try to make a pro push?
Oh, I think about it a lot. And fortunately, my sensei has some good connections. He pretty much told me, 4 amateur wins, he should be able to get me a pro contract somewhere. And then he said 4 pro wins and I should be able to get on Contender Series, Dana White's Contender Series. So I'm definitely at a great place to be training right now. I start working there full time tomorrow as well. So it'll be great.
You start working at your gym full time?
I've been working there.
That's cool
already. But I'm starting there full time tomorrow.
Well, that's cool because now you can make some money while training and teaching others, and that's great.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I'm mostly going to be working with the kids in the summer camp right now and stuff like that. But, hopefully as I learn more, I can start teaching some classes and stuff like that too.
Well, we just sat down with a pro fighter who owns a gym about a half hour from me. And he was saying that as much as he likes fighting, he loves being a coach more. And he goes, and a lot of people don't even realize it, but with the kids and adults sometimes, but mostly the kids, he said, you end up getting to be a life coach and they don't even realize it. And that it is so rewarding and great that he, as much as he loves fighting, enjoys the teaching and the coaching more.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I mean, there's, of course, your own successes are always great, but helping somebody and, seeing them when they have that success and experiencing it with them and knowing you help get them there, especially when it's like for multiple people, like it's a very satisfying thing.
Well, that's what's amazing about the MMA or combat sports community in general. You guys are straight killers, but you're some of the nicest guys, the caring guys. You guys are willing to give your time. I just watched Jay Gotham raise a ton of money for autism through StreetBeefs and different things. Like just the fact that the combat sports community is just a bunch of killers. But when you talk to them, you're like, really, this guy fights.
Yeah, a lot of people don't believe me. I was my last day at the preschool I've been working at for the last 3 years was on Friday. So a lot of the parents were asking me like what I'm doing, and like a lot of them just thought I was joking when I was saying like, I'm an MMA fighter, so I'm trying to work at the gym so I can train more and stuff like that. A lot of them thought I was yanking their legs sometimes, but yeah, it's more of a competitive thing than like trying to hurt somebody thing for me.
And Big Smile is the greatest name for you because, I mean, I've only talked to you twice, but I see you on Facebook. You're always smiling. So it's the perfect name. And are you going to keep that as your name? Are you going to be like Matthew, like, Big Smile Crawford? What are you going to do?
I'm definitely going to keep that as my fight name. I'm sure most promotions will use my regular name as well, so it'll be in the middle. But
right.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it. I love that name. My whole life, I've always loved smiling, and like, I love it. Like when somebody smiles back at me, that's one of my favorite feelings. It's like, the energy between people when you can walk into a room and help everybody smile is a great thing.
So I'm guessing you're a lot like me. And like, if you pass somebody, you smile or whatever, to acknowledge them. So COVID been a little weird for you because like the masks, I'm in a store and I'll smile at somebody. And then I realize there's no way they even knew I was smiling.
It is a tiny bit weird. Like, I still feel like people can still feel the energy of the happiness, but yeah, I love being able to show it as well.
No, that's like I said, you guys are awesome, like straight killers, but the nicest guys. It's like you don't expect that because, well, especially me being older, I'm in my 40s, and I grew up with John McCain and the human cockfighting comments and all of the nobody wants to sanction MMA and it's just brutal. And then if they really got to know you guys and seen what MMA has done for you guys in your lives and other people who don't even fight, what martial arts has done for them, I think they'd look at it completely different.
Oh, it's so true. Even since I started martial arts, like everything in my life outside of martial arts, everything has only improved in terms of, the jobs I've had have only gotten better since I've been training more, and like my social life, getting married, all that has only, I feel like all that has to do with me being able to train and keep a healthy mindset. Because, before that, I was in quite a funk before I started training. So it helps me a lot.
So I'm guessing you got a supportive family with your fighting, but it's got to be rough on the wife to watch you fight.
She really likes it. She gets worried sometimes, but normally once I get started, she's like, "Oh, okay, he's got it." And she always tries to encourage me. And she's had one fight as well, so
okay.
She understands. That helps her understand a little bit, and she wants to get back into it soon.
Well, that's got to help too, though, that having a wife who's into MMA and fights, because my wife will watch the UFC with me, but there's no way she could watch me get punched in the face, so.
Yeah, she definitely understands, because the way she spars, like, she just like slugs it out with people. So she's definitely started to understand more. And it's really cool because honestly, that's one of the huge pluses of COVID, because before that, some people don't necessarily have a positive relationship with exercise. I don't know if it has to do with, because some people punish people with exercise when they're kids and stuff, making them run laps and push-ups and stuff. But some people don't look at it in the most positive way. But over the past couple of years, my wife's mindset on that has totally changed. During COVID, she got really into fighting with me, and then she started getting into yoga. And recently she got certified in yoga, and she started a yoga job. And now she just absolutely loves exercise. So that's one of the great takeaways from COVID, and her being locked away with me that happened.
Well, yeah, and with COVID, I just said with Preacher's Son earlier, I'm very blessed because I got to spend a year with my wife in the house, and I loved it. It was great because we actually like each other. And I can attest to what you're saying. I would not say that I am in love with exercise, but since COVID, I'm down 80 pounds, so it was a very beneficial. I was pushing 300 pounds at one point, and COVID hit, and I just decided to make a change. So it's helped a lot of us.
Wow, that's awesome. 80 pounds. Good for you.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know what was going on. And I said, wait, ventilator, no thanks. And I just decided to lose the weight. I don't know if I'd ended up on a ventilator if I caught it or not, but I was just saying I'm not putting myself at the risk. And now I feel great. Like yesterday, I walked 4 miles. I go out with my wife more. It's so much better. And it's weird how to take that negative and turn it into a positive, like your wife did also.
We got married, and then we had our honeymoon weekend, and that month everything shut down. So it was as soon as COVID started, we had just gotten married. So
that was your honeymoon.
Yeah, extended our honeymoon.
Okay, yeah, my wife and I were supposed to move the month that March that COVID hit, so we've been actually in our house over a year longer than we planned on. But, like I said, I got to spend time with her. It was great. And I'm one of the few people that maybe COVID was actually beneficial for, but maybe you guys too, now that I think about it.
I know. I'm not sure it was difficult. I know it was definitely a lot of positive things for her. And I know it was good for me, to be honest. All my MMA career has been during COVID up. So, I've learned a lot. I've done things.
Well, Big Smile, we seem to be having some technical difficulties, and I'd love to ask you more questions, but I'm probably just going to end it here because we're having more issues. But I hope you'll come on again sometime after your fight and talk about that.
Absolutely. Sorry about what's going on, but it was talking for a bit, and back on the today. I really like you going there.
Yeah, and I got to say this because I don't know if you did it yet, but I was on you last time. Get you some merch because nothing will be better than some Big Smile merch.
I have merch. It just the website becomes sometimes. I got to switch over to different a different website that makes the merch. Because sometimes it'll tell people I'm sold out. I think I'm frozen again, and I'm not.
That's all right. We got good audio.
Yeah.
So where can they find your merch?
So right now, if you go to Etsy, you just search Big Smile MMA, all one word, and it's all on there.
All right, guys, I will find that and drop the link for anybody who wants the Big Smile merch. Thank you again so much for coming on. Like I said, I'd love to talk to you again after your next fight. Good luck, and you got a fan in me, that's for sure.
Thank you so much, man. Always great talking to you. I'm a fan of your show, and I appreciate it. All smiles, all peace.
And we appreciate you guys. We appreciate all of the Street Beefs guys. I mean, the Bellator and UFC fighters who have given us their time. You guys are just such a great community, and we can't get over it. And just want to thank you guys again. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all podcasting platforms. All right, one world, one love. Deuces.
Sorry.